Welcome to Advancing Cancer Recovery. My name is Avinoam Leonel. And in the next few minutes, I want to share with you my perspective on why we're not anywhere close to winning the race against cancer. And to illustrate this, I'll be using a visual model conceived by Viktor Frankl, who is a Viennese psychiatrist, a genius really, who most of us may know as the author of Man's Search for Meaning. And if you haven't read that book, it's highly recommended. Like any good problem, worthwhile problem, this problem has three aspects to it. The first is that we are looking at cancer, at the solution for cancer, only from a one-dimensional perspective. And because we do so, we only get limited or distorted view. And because we get distorted view or limited view, we fail to treat the whole person. We fail to address the root cause. And you will see how all of that makes sense in just a short moment. So let's start with the model in front of you, the illustration in front of you, because Frankl created it as part of his work on dimensional ontology and logotherapy, which in a nutshell are theories that establish the belief that human beings are spiritual beings, thus multidimensional beings, and that by limiting the view of the human experience, which in our case is cancer or illness, if we limit our view of the human experience to a single dimension, we do not see the complete whole person, thus fail to treat the root cause. We fail to see the problem at hand in its true perspective. So let's unpack that. And first, let's read the law, the first law out of two of dimensional ontology, which Frankl has written. And that law goes as follows. One of the same phenomenon projected out of its own dimension into a different dimension, lower than its own, is depicted in such a way that individual pictures contradict one another. So what we're looking at here, and let me get my laser point so that we can do that better. Okay, so here we have a cylinder like a can of soda. It is a three-dimensional object. It's got height, it's got width, and it's hollow. The bottom is closed. So it's a three-dimensional object. It's suspended in a three-dimensional space. Think of it as a room with a floor and with a wall. So when we project this object from its three-dimensional space onto a wall, which is only two-dimensional, right? It's height and width. The floor is the same thing. We get pictures that contradict one another. So in the words of Frankl, projected out of its three-dimensional space, we talk about the cylinder, right? If we take a flashlight from here or a flashlight from here. So projected out of its three-dimensional space into the horizontal or vertical two-dimensional planes, the cylinder yields in the first case a circle on the floor, and in the second, a rectangle or a square in this case. So these pictures contradict one another, and what's more important is that the cylinder is really an open vessel. This can of soda, if you will, is an open vessel. It's open from the top, it's hollow. In contrast to the circle or the square on the wall, which are closed figure, right? They're flat. So in other words, the human experience has many dimensions. It has a physical dimension, which can be the square on the wall, the rectangle on the wall. It has a spiritual dimension. Well, it has a psychological dimension, which can be the circle on the floor, and it has a spiritual dimension, which is the cylinder, the hollow cylinder, if you will. So we've got the cylinder, which is hollow, representing the spiritual dimension, which Frankl specifically addressed as the realm of meaning of life, not as spiritual as in religion, but meaning of life. We have the depiction on the wall, which represent medicine. So medicine, psychology, and mind. And you'll see how all of that works together in a moment. So each projection provides important information. For example, here through the rectangle or the square on the wall, we get the height and the width of the object that we're looking at, right? And when you look at the circle on the ground, it reveals its circumference. So these two projections provide important information. However, Neither of these projections tell us that what we're actually looking at is a cylinder. We only know it's a cylinder because we can see the original object. But if, well, let's move a little deeper and dig into that. So we're taking the same model, and what's important to understand that neither of these projections, neither of medicine or psychology, tell us that the cylinder is in fact an open system, closed only on the bottom. Each projection provides limited information, and therefore we do not have a truly accurate or complete understanding of what the source object really is. So this square or rectangle, this circle, do not tell us that what we're looking at is in fact a cylinder, and it certainly doesn't tell us that the cylinder is hollow. And this is important. Why is it important for cancer? So let's go a little further. When it comes to understanding the human experience of illness, researchers have only studied cancer from a one-dimensional perspective, for the most part. Based on Frankel's logic, researchers miss the real perspective, facts, and important elements vital to treatment. So, for example, medical practitioners, right, will view cancer as a physiological event taking place within the body. They only see the cancer cells residing and dividing within the body, and their goal is to get rid of them, which is important. So if we take this flashlight and we direct the light in this way, what we get is one view of this object, right? In this case, in the realm of medicine and biology, we get the idea that cancer is a biological event happening within the body where cells are dividing uncontrollably. So let's move further. Here, we're going to look at the same problem or the same object, but from the lens of psychology. So let's just move forward. So by contrast, psychologists look at cancer through the lens of mental science in the context of social influences, behavioral patterns, and certain personality types. Now, of course, it will yield a different understanding of the object because we just read different things about it. So each of these projections really provide us important information, but each approach is extremely limited and therefore incomplete. Each of these approaches fail to see and thus treat the whole person, and this is my point. It fails to treat the whole person. And whether or not this could be the reason why we haven't found a cure yet, I will let you speculate on that. I can only assume that despite of almost inexhaustible resources, we're talking budgets, unlimited manpower, no medical researcher or research study, if you will, or doctor or provider can definitely say what causes cancer with 100%. Right? This is important. So medical researchers discuss internal and external contributions. They can point to genetic dispositions, really, and carcinogenic factors in the environment. It's all true. But having cancer does not cause you to heal any better. So it is not good enough to just know that you have cancer or where is it coming from, because how does that promote healing, right? So viewing cancer treatment as a medical or biological event or only as a psychological event means robbing people of their true spiritual nature. It limits their experience to one or two dimensions, but we really know there's more than that. So logotherapy, what Frankl has done so beautifully, logotherapy assumes that human beings are spiritual beings, and this is very significant and missing from each of the other two dimensions. And it is the spiritual dimension that provides meaning and purpose in one's life. It's a powerful resource. So continuing with Frankl logic, we see that any attempt to completely cure cancer must include the spiritual dimension, must include the person, the person within the machine, within the physical body. So if this was enticing to some extent, you can find more of this information in my book, The New Cancer Paradigm. And there's so much more there that can be beneficial. I'm not going to talk at length about that, but yes, you can learn how to naturally boost your immune function, override fear, increase resilience, stop self-sabotage and negativity, heal deep-seated patterns and trauma, self-blame, guilt, and shame, which we know based on the research of psychoneuroimmunology that has shown to suppress the immune function, develop healthier attitude toward treatment, medicine, and outcome. The very point of immersive healing, the very practice that I advocate for and promote is to increase treatment efficacy so that patients can complete their treatment regimen and increase their odds for recovery. And if you want to find out more, simply reach me at my website, avinoamleonel.com, or call at that phone number. I'm offering a free complimentary 45 minutes, what I call Breakthrough to Recovery Discovery session, during which we will craft an action plan that you can implement immediately to strengthen your immune function, improve resilience, and certainly your quality of life. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you. By the way, there's 2 parts to this presentation. The next part is even more exciting, and stay tuned. It'll be there shortly. Thank you so much.